Have you ever found yourself comparing yourself to other people? Have you ever found that comparison kind of crushes your game? Well, here's the thing. I'm writing this specific and I'm reading this specific article to you because I know that this is something that I struggled with, and I know it's something that a lot of people have struggled with. So when it comes down to it, what I want to make available for hockey players is a new type of mental software. And what I mean by mental software is a different mental processing system. So like in a computer, for example, you have, like, obviously in, let's say, a Mac, you have iOS, or you have Windows and Microsoft. Inside of your head, you have a software. And that software is what allows you to be who you are. It's your personality. It's who you are in the world. And see, that software gets altered. That software gets messed up by people around you. Your friends, your family, your coaches, all different people, all alter that software. But what I want to talk about today specifically is how your mental software is actually altered by your parents and the relationship you have with your parents as a kid. And we're going to get into the deeper psychology of where this really comes from. And this is not all fact. Psychology is always a place where there's a lot of debate and there's a lot of science still being done. So this is not a dead set thing, but it is something that matters. It is something that will change your life if you really are dealing with the issue of comparing yourself to other people. Because at the end of the day, comparison is the thief of joy. It's what it is. And it will crush you. So I want to get into it a little bit here. So the thing was during my hockey career, played for 20 years, and I would say probably 18 of them, I compared myself to a lot of people. And I didn't really realize it until someone asked me, well, what if I told you that self-comparison actually starts during childhood as a hockey player? And what if I told you that it has deep roots to our early years, and it's how our software was developed, our psychological software? And what if I told you that in order to stop the self-torture that comes with self-comparison, you must first understand where this actually came from. And you must understand your childhood relationship with your parents or your significant, like the significant person in your life that took care of you, that brought you to hockey, that you talked about sport with. Like, that's what this is about. And that's the thing. This is going to also help other athletes as well. So it's not just for hockey players. Other athletes can always listen to these and they'll be able to extract a lot. But I am specifically speaking to hockey players in this. So really, what you have to realize is we build up who we are as a person through our early years. So one of the things that we end up developing over time is this want to compare. So when we're early on in our younger years, we start to compare ourselves. Now I'll explain in detail where that comes from in a second. But what you want to realize is that when you compare yourself to other people, it is a spiral down to sadness and depression. It is a spiral down into a very negative place because you never really win in comparison. You can always find something that someone's better than you at, and you can always find something that you're better than someone else at. So you can always compare and you can play that game forever. Now, I encourage people to not look at either and not worry about other people. And I really encourage people to focus on themselves, to bring their attention internally, and to focus on, okay, well, I can use other people as a measuring stick. For example, if you never score in a game, then that's a measuring stick to say, oh, cool, like, I got to figure out how to score. If that's the goal I have, that's the metric that's the rule of the game. That's the metric to play by. But the thing that I see is the issue is a lot of people will start to develop a value system of like how valuable they are or what, like, how much they deserve to be happy. And their whole reward system revolves around if it's basically like, if I'm better than other people, then I deserve love. And that's the thing, is that if you play this game and you have comparison always on your mind, your relationships with your teammates, with your friends, with your coaches, those are all going to be really, really impacted. The Other impact is it's going to be a negative performance for you, so you're not going to play well. And then the other thing is that, most importantly, you're not going to enjoy the game because you're not going to have fun if you're constantly thinking, oh, I played a good game, oh, but it wasn't as good as this guy. Oh, I played a great game, I scored 3 goals, but it wasn't 4 goals like this guy. Right? You can always just find something to diminish what it is you've accomplished by just playing the comparison game. But that's the thing, is you can play that game forever. You set the world record in one sport, you compare yourself to another sport and say, that's better than me. You look at somebody and you say, I've done everything anybody, like Gretzky could have looked at somebody else and be like, man, I wish I had a muscular body like this person, right? You can always find something that allows you to lose. And again, comparison can be helpful if you use it as a tool and you get excited by it, which we'll talk about a bit more in a later how to solve this. But again, it just is such a terrible way to live if you always compare yourself to people. Had some camera issues there. And so what you want to realize is that comparison is the thief of joy. If you want to enjoy your career, if you want to have fun, I am a firm believer that if you compare yourself to everyone all the time, you will not be happy. And this goes for all sports, because all sports are difficult at the highest levels. If you're not challenged, then you should probably start playing at a higher level, because challenge is important. Challenge also comes in when you want to be in a flow state. It's a part of just enjoying a fulfilled life is having challenge, resistance that you play against. And so put that as something that is important to you, is to push yourself. But it's not going to be fun if you're always comparing yourself to other people. You're going to be super unhappy if you do. So I just don't want to see you or anyone else live a pretty crappy life. Because if you always end up saying, well, I succeeded, I had a great, in business, I had a great quarter, I had a great year, and then you look at somebody who made more money, you're like, I failed. I could say for me, I've transformed a whole bunch of players' lives. I've seen players be able to find an entirely different lifestyle. They've found meaning in their life. But at the same time, I could always say, well, there's coaches who've done more. There's coaches who've helped, like Tim Grover, helped Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, and tons of other elite athletes. So I could just be like, oh, well, no, he's better than me. Or Darryl Belfry worked with all the elite guys. Oh, he's better than me. But that's the thing, right, is I could do that forever. And even if I do surpass those people, there'll just be something else I can compare myself to. And it will just make me feel diminished. It'll make me feel like less of a person if I put my value in if I'm better than those people, right? So it's not a recipe for success. And if you're doing this, you gotta let go of it. But let's pull it back for a second, though. Let's think about where this actually starts. So think about you're a minor hockey player or you're playing a sport early on in your career, and let's say you score the big winning goal. Everybody's freaking out. The fans are happy. Your teammates are happy. Everybody's fired up. You're filled with pride in that moment. But the thing is that what's actually driving that is you can't wait to see how happy your parents are. I know that was the case for me. Maybe I'm way off base for you. Maybe you were different. But I think deep down, almost all hockey players really just want to make their parents proud. And so if you think about it, as a parent, what a lot of times parents will do is they will make the mistake of thinking, okay, I'm going to reward good behavior and I'm going to be neutral or punish bad behavior. But what this trains in a player is to fear mistakes. It trains them to fear not being good enough, right? Because if they think, well, I have to play good, what happens is they start to say, success equals love. Success equals love. Success equals love, right? They just keep seeing this pattern pop up. And so it breaks down the software that otherwise could have developed, which is I don't look at other people and have to worry because I know that regardless of my performance, I know I'm still good enough. So what happens with the relationship there is that even if a parent does a great job and they don't really punish you, but they do kind of not really make a big deal out of why, if they don't reward the right things, your brain can get really weird about how it interprets what success is. So again, you'll start to think that to be like success, or you'll think love is only contingent upon being good or successful. And then therefore, that was what happened to me, is I like misinterpreted my parents like just doing their best to help me. And I interpreted that experience and like what they did. I kept thinking that, well, I had to be better. I need to be perfect because that's what deserves love. And so I never thought I was perfect. So therefore, I kept being in this state of always chasing and trying to be better and better. And I still find that circles back to me at times. So if you're an athlete or person, like when it comes to happiness, it's going to be a lot harder to be happy if you feel like you're already always chasing being good enough. And so being able to let go of that is super, super important. And when I was able to really address that and see it for myself, I saw how it translated onto the ice. Because on the ice, what I would think is, if I fail, if I make a mistake, if I screw up, I'm not good enough. And that is a very toxic way to think, because you're never going to play the best you can, because you're going to limit yourself because you don't want to make mistakes. So I would think, well, if I try a move and it doesn't work out, I'm a failure. I would think if the goalie saves a shot that I take, I failed, I don't deserve love. And I didn't know that was the case until I really dug into it. And just as I got into college, I actually realized that this was like a really bad mental pattern I had. It's kind of late to realize this in your kind of like early 20s, but so it would have been really helpful if I learned it, let's say like 10 to 15, really before hockey starts getting like super serious. But the thing is, for me, like I was always super competitive. I learned from my dad just this competitive nature, which I'm so, so grateful for. I could not be more happy that I have this competitive nature in me, because it makes me successful. It helps me to put this stuff out consistently. But it becomes nasty when you are comparing yourself, and that's what the competition is. Like, I need to be good enough, and I have to beat you in order to be good enough. I have to beat you in order to have my parents love me or care about me. And, this may sound like just this made-up concept. It sounds like I'm just saying some stupid stuff that you don't care about, but this is not bullshit advice. This is real, right? And so what you want to think about is your psychological software may have been like altered with this relationship with your parents. And it may have also been like somebody else or whatever it was, but you may have developed this same pattern that if you're only good enough if you succeed, right? And there's a lot of great athletes that have this wiring. It doesn't mean you can't be a great athlete with this wiring, but I believe that being a great athlete and being happy, I think they help each other if you use them right. And you can learn to channel the aggression, learn to channel the anger, which I talked about in the previous blog article that I wrote. But what you really want to consider is that if you want to live a full lifestyle, a full hockey lifestyle to the fullest, you want to live the best life you can, which is the big part of identity shift, is shifting into a type of person who lives the lifestyle that they want to live. Not just success on the ice, or not just, happy off the ice, but, you're not that good on the ice. But finding that true success in both. And I don't think it's a balance. I think it's just a win-win scenario. And so that's why you got to look at your psychological software. You got to look at the operating system that you have developed and learn how to either work with it or make the changes that you need to make in order to become better. Because I do not want to see players who are sad, depressed, anxious all the time, because everything breaks down because of this software, right? Being sad, being depressed, if it's not because of some kind of neurological issue, right? Like the neurochemistry is off in some people. But if it's not that, if your neurochemistry is not off, then what you have to consider is that, look, like maybe I've just developed some really bad habits from stuff from before, right? From parents, friends, family, coaches, whatever it is. And that's what when people say like traumatic stuff, a lot of times that plays into it. It alters your psychological software. That's why you go to a technician, which would be like a psychologist in this case, and they go and help you. Just like when you take a computer and you take it to the Mac store and you say, hey, fix this. It's the same thing when you go to a psychologist, or you go to a sport performance, or you go to a mental performance coach. They're like a technician or a mechanic that helps you. They help you actually fix up these mechanical issues that are going on, or these you like psychological challenges or barriers or problems or issues. You can call them whatever you want, but either way, I just say it's a mental block, because it's something that is actually blocking your performance. It's not allowing you to play at your fullest, and that is going to hold you back. If you are afraid to make mistakes, if you're afraid to be the best version of you, you will not develop into the player you can be. It's just true, right? So this is the mistake parents make, and I just want you guys to think about that again, is like, as a parent, if you're listening to this, consider, like, what is it that I've done that may have, kind of messed up that psychological software for my son or daughter, right? Have I created that relationship where it's love only comes from success? And I'll explain how to fix this in a second, but being able to identify this and being able to notice it is key. So I want to help you identify what the 5 biggest mental blocks are that come from this, so you can assess if you or your son or daughter has this and their software has been altered by this love success relationship. And then what we can figure out is, well, if we now have this, can we take some steps to change it? And there are some very core, powerful steps that you can take that will allow you to perform better and be happier. And I'll break those down in a second. So first of all, here's the 5 big mental blocks. Number 1, increased comparison. This comes from that love success relationship. And we talked about this, but really what it is that in sports, children often directly compare their performance to their peers. And if love and attention are tied to success, the child might overemphasize the comparison and place too much importance on being better than others. This creates an unhealthy focus on being the best rather than on personal growth and enjoyment of the activity, right? So if you're always comparing yourself to other people, like we talked about, the core of this whole message, it's coming from the fact that you are trying to earn that love back in a lot of cases. Maybe it's not for you, but just play this out with me. Consider this might be true. So the outcome is that you feel threatened by people. You feel you need to beat them at all costs. You develop poor relationships with teammates, even coaches, because they are all a threat to your performance. You constantly feel the need to prove and be better than people. You constantly feel the need to break other people down, most likely, or at least in your own head, you break them down. So maybe you don't say it to them because you know it's not nice. I used to do this. Canadians do this a lot. You don't have to, it's not that you're saying it to them, it's that you're using something to break them down, break down the version you see of them, and you then feel better because of it. So notice if you do this, notice it and try to catch yourself if you are breaking other people down to build yourself up. It's probably a protective mechanism because you're trying to make sure you have worth in the world, right? So that's number 1, increased comparison. Number 2 is conditional self-worth. So this is very similar. They all tie together here. They all come together to really be like self-comparison, but conditional self-worth. So you only feel like you're good enough. This is what self-esteem is. You only feel like you're good enough, you have self-esteem, if you're successful, right? So this is what happens with players when they have a bad game and now their whole life is ruined because of it. And this is what I try to explain to players, is that great athletes have the ability to have a bad game and then play amazing the next game, or have a terrible shift and cost their team a goal and come right back. It's because they have actual true self-worth. It's not conditional based on whatever happened in the past, whatever other things occurred. They actually just, if they play well, they play bad, they're like, I'm a great player. And this is where the identity shift ties into this, is that if you can shift who you are in your mind, how you see yourself, then what happens is that you actually believe in yourself. You actually say, I could have had, Kobe Bryant had this thing where he would say, like, if I miss 5 in a row, the 6th one's going in. If the 6th one misses, I'm hitting the 7th. If the 7th one misses, then I'm 100% hitting the 8th. And he had this confidence that, okay, cool, like, it's just, if I miss a couple, I'll just come back and hit the next. And, one might say this is kind of maybe you should just not be the guy shooting after you shoot 7 missed shots. But it's a whole overarching belief in yourself that, look, like, I know I'm good enough. It's just something's a little off and I'll figure it out. And this ties into the delusional philosophy that we talk about, which is a really, really important concept that we'll explore and later things, but if you want to just join the accelerator program, we take you through all that stuff, but regardless of the plug. So you develop that conditional self-worth, which just crushes you. And yeah, and what you'll notice with yourself with this is that you only feel good when you have good games, and then you feel terrible, you feel anxious, you feel nervous all the time, because you're trying to avoid being wrong and avoid making mistakes, because being wrong means you don't get love. So you've developed that habit, and so you try to be perfect, and you'll break yourself down that way. The third one, which is pretty much the same thing, again, they all are very similar, but they have these slight distinctions, is unhealthy competitive attitude, or an unhealthy competitive attitude. This one's tough because it is good to be very competitive, but it's unhealthy when you want to tear other people down in order to beat them. And this is what I think. I think that wanting to win, you should want to beat the best version of the other person. So let's say, for example, it's whatever sport. I mean, you could say hockey. I was just talking to somebody who's a boxer. Shout out Isaiah. I was just talking to him about like boxing stuff, and what I was thinking about after that call was this same concept, which I think could be helpful for everybody. Is you should want to play or fight or whatever it is against the best version of another person, because what it's doing is it's giving you the highest challenge. It's giving you the best opportunity to push yourself. That's what you should be looking for as an athlete, is what is the biggest challenge I can face so I can see how good I am, right? In video games, you want to go against the best levels because you want to overcome the best person, the best character, the best obstacle in the way. And so you should really look for that and be excited by that. But what happens with a lot of players is they develop really unhealthy relationship to competition. So they blame other people for their losses. They want to tear the other team down. They want the other team injured so that they don't even have to compete against them. They just want to win, and winning is the thing. But here's the thing. This may sound kind of stupid to say, but it's not winning. It's being the absolute best. And it doesn't have to, you want to find what the best is for you, but you can use other people to help you figure that out, to help push you. So it's a different psychological approach. It's a different mental mechanism that is firing here. Because if you think about, you're trying to win, you're attached to that win. But instead of you're thinking, I just want to see if I can beat this person. I'm going to do everything. I'm not going to let myself fail because I didn't go with every single ounce of energy I have. Do you see how that's like healthy competitiveness versus I would rather, I don't care if you break your neck, I just want to win? It's a different approach to it. And I just think it's really shitty to have that nasty, negative competitiveness. And so we can argue about that a lot. And I don't actually fully think you have to, this is not contingent upon being just pure performance. This is also just having psychological sanity, because you will probably lose your mind if you get caught up in the, I want to kill everybody all the time mentality. Now burnout's another one. So you just work too hard and you kind of lose your mind, and because you rely so much on success is the only metric, and you don't care about improving, or you don't care about enjoying the experience, you don't get excited by, I can't wait to play this big game. You're just man, I just need to get through this. It will lead you to want to quit, and that is a sign that you have this love-success relationship that's developed here. And then you might have high anxiety. This is definitely one. So you're just anxious all the time, which connects back to unhealthy competitive attitude, and actually everything. They all connect, as I've said multiple times. But you're just anxious all the time. You're really nervous because your self-worth is contingent upon if you succeed in the thing you're about to do. So of course you'd be nervous because you're man, this is life or death for me. And even then, even if it is life or death, there is a barrier to be broken through there. And it's a very complex and very deep philosophical shift that has to happen in your subconscious mind in order to change that. You see UFC fighters find this level, but it's a lot deeper than we're going to get into today. And then the last one is distorted self-perception. So it's basically that you have this perception of yourself like somebody who has body dysmorphia. So it's kind of like you always have like the negative self-image of yourself. So you always see the worst in you, because you only think that if you're not succeeding, it's because there's something wrong with you. You're not good enough, and that's why you don't deserve love. So this kind of breaks you down over time, because you kind of have to have a negative self-image, because it gives you an understanding of why you're not good enough, right? It all kind of just like connects the dots. So instead, you have to actually develop, and we'll talk about this, we'll get that right in detail here. So you have to develop like an understanding that you are not that negative look. You've just developed a really poor perspective on yourself. And so you are good enough to feel good, and feeling good will allow you to be able to recover better, to be able to train harder, to show up and actually do the work you need to do to get better. And then it would actually build on this negative mindset. If you could just flip it, then you would feed that positive self-image, because you'd start winning and having that success. But what happens is we go down this negative spiral of, I'm not good enough, so I don't train hard, and then I'm not good enough, so I don't get success, and then you reinforce that you're not good enough, so you shouldn't train, so you don't get success, and the cycle will just endlessly repeat, unless you get lucky and you do have some success, or maybe you drop down a level and you just are so much better than people that you have success. And then all of a sudden, now the spiral up begins, because it's, I'm good enough, so I train harder, have success. I'm good enough, train harder, have success. And you level up, right? So you want to break that whole mental system, and it gives you that automatic enjoyment, which then reinforces you being the player you want to be, which reinforces the work that you got to do, and you can push through it. See, you don't need this. You don't need to have these feelings to succeed, but it will help you a lot. So keep that in mind. Now, a couple things. As a parent coming out of this, I want you to consider that as a parent, the really important shift you need to make is being aware of what actions are causing your child to think that success and love are linked together, and you can only be loved, you can only deserve love if you have success. And then as a player, sorry about my voice, I forgot to put water in here. But as a player, what you want to consider is, are any of these traits holding my game back? And if they're not, then don't worry about it. Don't change anything. But odds are, if you do have any of these traits, it is holding your game back. So I encourage you to consider how to overcome them. So here are the basically 5 core things that I've used, or 6 core things that I've used. Forgot there was an extra one that I use to actually help my athletes. So these are the players that I work with in minor hockey, junior hockey, college hockey, pro hockey. And any athlete can use these. And these are the key to overcoming these blocks, to increasing performance, and to having more fun and living a happier life, because you actually are able to enjoy things. You're not being robbed of the joy because you're always comparing yourself to other people. You're always trying to beat everyone else in order to earn that love that you think you don't deserve. And so it's a broken system. So let's change the system. Let's rewrite the software here. So the first thing you want to do is implement strategic love. Now this sounds like the most hippie shit you will ever hear, but I promise you that this is effective. So what I actually mean is that when you have bad days, when you don't perform to what you believe you can perform or what you have performed, if you're off or whatever it is, understand that everybody has this. And it's okay to play poorly. It's okay to make mistakes. And you can live a life where you are still happy, because you know that long term you will figure this out. So implement strategic love is everything about your brain is going to tell you when you play poorly to be mad at yourself, to hate yourself, just like fire all these negative things at you. Don't do it. Implement strategic love. Implement actually treating yourself well. Please do this, because if you do, you can get out of this self-hate relationship, and you can actually start to push yourself. Because again, I say this over and over, because if you actually believe that you can be a great player and you implement that actual care for yourself, then you will push yourself harder because you know you can be successful. But if you keep reinforcing that you suck all the time, then it's not going to work. So you've got to change that. And the next thing is redefine winning. So instead of trying to play professional hockey, instead of thinking I have to be this level in order to love myself, or I have to be this level to be good enough, implement redefining what the winning formula is. And the winning formula here is to care about your potential. Care about how great you can be, not where you end up. Because if everything is contingent upon I have to be at a certain level, or I have to have a certain amount of goals, or I have to hit this goal in order to succeed, here's a little secret. You're not going to be happy until you hit it, and then you're going to hit it, and then you're going to say, I need to hit a new goal in order to fulfill myself, be fulfilled again. It's not going to work. So please make that shift. Please change that for yourself, because you got to redefine it if you're going to actually live a good life. Third one, play the infinite game. Start focusing on, can I enjoy this moment that I'm in right now? Play this game in every moment you can. When you're sitting here listening to this, maybe you're listening to this in the car, maybe you're doing a workout, maybe you're just chilling, walking around. I listen to podcasts cleaning my house. It's like one of my favorite things. But what I highly recommend here is focus on the infinite game of every single moment and learn to be present. So this is why I tell all my guys, start meditating. It's why the first 30 days of the Next Level Accelerator is a daily meditation, and because that's where change happens. Change happens when you start to focus on the only thing you have control of, which is this moment. And if you're not productive one day, the thing that usually breaks us is that we think that, well, if I'll do it next moment. But if you keep thinking ahead, you'll never actually be in the moment and make a decision. So focus on being in the moment. This gets you into flow state. This allows you to be aware of everything that's going on around you. And this allows you to make crystal clear decisions because your thinking becomes crystal clear. So make that shift. Another one is the fourth one is build your crew. And what I mean by this is really just put people around you that are good people. Put people around you who make you better, make you feel like, it's normal to push yourself. It's normal to work hard. This is why most great athletes just build a group of people that are like them. So that's what I mean when I say build the crew. Build a group of people like you. Build a group of people who want to go to the same place or who are in the same place and they're trying to go further. That will push you. That will make you a better player. The fifth one is get a performance coach. So go get a mental performance coach, get a sports psychologist, or whatever other title someone goes by. I just go by performance coach because I help with the mental, but I also help you design all your training systems and help you optimize everything, because mental is not just mental barriers. It's also making sure that everything you do is in alignment with what you want to accomplish, right? So it's getting clear on a lot of different stuff. It's a lot of lifestyle design that really makes the difference, at least I think. But getting back to the point. So now, the other piece is get excited by greatness. So that was the fifth one, the get a performance coach. And then number 6 is get excited by greatness. Get excited when you see someone who's good. This is a huge mental software pattern or program that you want to change and rewire for yourself. When someone's better than you, be like, awesome, I'm going to figure out how to be that good. If someone has a skill set that you don't have, be like, okay, cool, I'm going to figure out how to steal from them and get better at it. Just get better. You should be motivated. Don't be broken down by someone's greatness. Be excited by it. There was a saying in this book right here, which I found was really helpful, which I highly recommend basically anybody who wants like a mindset thing. I'd recommend reading this. It's All in Your Head by Russ. And it's all reversed, so you're not going to be able to read this, but this is a lot of stuff that I've built a lot of my programs off of. And what you'll realize with that book, and what you'll realize with getting excited by greatness, is that if you're great, the thing is you don't get scared by other people's greatness. You get excited by it because you're like, this is going to make me better. I'm going to steal something from you. I'm going to find a way to get better because you're so great, right? And another way to say it is somebody else who's shining bright is not scared of your brightness or how bright you shine. They're not worried about that, right? So I just highly encourage you to consider that and be aware of that. Look, you're going to be fine. If another person beats you, you'll figure out how to get better. They'll make you better, right? So that's why this is important. Because if you want to reclaim like the joy of playing, you want to be liberated from the chains of anxiety and self-doubt, you want to play unlocked because fear is no longer holding your game back, you must foster this very, very resilient, self-confident, and healthier relationship with yourself and those around you. What you must do is you must actually focus on, I am great. I know I'm great inside. And this is not just about affirmations. This is about actually realizing it for yourself. And there are techniques that you can do this with. I'm not going to go into detail because this would be like an hour long or more podcast. But what I want you to realize is that if you want to live a great life, you want to live a life with a smile on your face all the time, you want to be like those people, you want to have a fun career, you want to actually break through these mental blocks, then you got to develop that self-esteem, right? I'll break these down one more time. You got to implement strategic love, and you actually have to build self-esteem and actually care about yourself. Sounds, silly or sunshine and rainbows type talk, but it's real. It really is. You're not going to live a happy life if you don't do it. Then you want to redefine what winning means to you. Play the game for the sake of playing the game. You want to play the infinite game. Get present and be in the moment and just stay there and try to live your life that way. Build a group of people who reinforce this for yourself and try to surround yourself with that as much as you possibly can. Try to work with a coach that does that as well. Then get a performance coach. Work with an individual or work with a group. I do like both of those things. I do individual and group coaching. And go do that. Go find somebody who can help you with that. It'll make a huge difference for you. And then the last one is get excited by greatness. When you see somebody better than you at something, don't compare yourself and be like, man, I wish I was that good. But awesome, I'm going to learn. Get excited by it. Be inspired by it. You could even say get inspired by greatness. It will push you to make you a better person. So what I would encourage you to do in conclusion is remember this. Your worth is not determined by your performance. It's determined by the rules you set for yourself. You're playing your own game, and I suggest that the game you play is to be the best player you can be. That doesn't end when you have an off game. It doesn't end when you have a bad practice. It doesn't end when you miss a shot. It doesn't end when you have a bad shift. It doesn't end if you have a bad season or a couple seasons or whatever it is. It's really what happens is if someone beats you, just be excited that it's going to push you to the next level. If you lose, just be excited that you felt resistance, you felt challenge. You wouldn't want a life that had no challenge. It's everybody who has a really, really easy life ends up really sad. So don't think that that's what you want. And it's essential that you must unravel the ties between success and self-worth for you. And if you want to be successful in sports and in life, you have to end the comparison game. You have to stop comparing yourself to other people and make the game fun. Embrace the joy of playing rather than fear of losing, and the game will reward you with more success than you realize you can have. All right? So I just want to give a plug to my programs because everything I do, whether it's free or paid, all is in alignment with this. Everything I do is about helping players get to the best version of themselves, getting to the next level for their game. So feel free to skip this if you're not interested in talking about like paid or free programs that I have. But if you want like a systemized approach, a whole mental system, a training system, a whole training philosophy that helps you to get to the next level of your game so you can play NCAA and pro hockey, because that's what this is all designed for. My mission with this program is to help you be the absolute best, master your mental game, develop the skills through building a lifestyle that works for you, and that's what the Next Level Accelerator program is. So if you're a player between 15 and 25, I take a few players a little bit younger, you play AAA, junior, college, or pro, just send me a message on Instagram, very easy to find, Identity Shift Hockey. If you just search Corson or Identity Shift Corson, you'll find me. Just click on the link in my bio. You can basically apply right there. You can also apply like down below this. There probably will be a link for you guys. Again, it's an 8-week program. And then if you're not interested in doing the paid stuff, I also have a free program, which is designed specifically to help you with your mental training journey, to really get you started on the right path. It teaches you meditation, visualization, how to develop focus, teaches you how to reframe your mindset, how to approach skills training, how to build an off-season program and cover all the bases and have a full strategy. It really teaches you everything that I used to charge like hundreds and hundreds of dollars for to do one-on-one. And now I don't do that anymore because I figured like I might as well just teach this stuff and have players come into my programs having learned all this stuff. So there's like 500 people who've taken that program so far. So I encourage you to go take it, go through all the lessons. I think there's 6 lessons. Maybe I'll add some more and just see what's possible. Just once you start this path and you see the mental shift that can happen when you start working on your mental game, when you really make the identity shift, which you will do in that starter program, once you do it, you'll never be the same person. You'll never see the world the same again, and life becomes fun. Your career becomes fun. That's what I want for you. I hope you have a great day, great week, great month, great year, great life, and I will talk to you guys soon. All right, bye.